Some pretty interesting news from the Trello board today, and I imagine people are going to get upset, so this one's going to get spicy. Ooh, Doddy, what's the spicy news from the Trello board, I hear you ask? Maybe not calling me Doddy, but I accept Doddy, Doddy, whatever you want, just no safe words. If you need a safe word, you're a wimp. So, on the Trello board, won't fix, issue has limited impact on the game, i.e. be quiet PvP players. Agents can aim from cover without being exposed to enemy fire with the striker ballistic shields active while using the scope. Essentially what I'm doing in the background footage behind you. Yeah, this is going to upset a few people. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, oh yeah, they're not going to fix it because they can't be bothered, or they don't know how, or X, Y, Z, throw excuse after excuse. Now, I am actually team dev on this one for one simple reason. It's just because of how bullets fundamentally work in games like Division. Typically they are hit scan using a ray tracing mechanic, or so I'm led to believe. I've done a little bit of research. I'm no developer, I'm not clued into it, but the main reason really being is just going to be the origin point of the bullet. There tends to be two different styles. There's one style where the bullet comes from essentially the center. It just materializes in the center of the screen. This actually seems to be one of the most common ways to utilize bullets in games like this, simply just because it's the easiest to do. The second option is to actually have the bullet come from the point of origin, that is the end of the weapon. If you do it from the center of the screen, you can basically just do one bullet fits all. Problem solved. If you do it from the end of the gun, we then enter the issue of how big is the gun, how is your character holding the gun, does this change when you're looking down the sight, etc, which is where you then get a confusing mess. It then also leads into, is the gun visible but the character isn't? Guess what one Division is? Yeah, so it's not so much they can't do it or etc, they probably can. They probably can actually change the bullet origin point. The issue is it would fundamentally change the entire mechanic of firefights, combat in this game, and it will be to appease, 10 people? Now, saltiness against PvPers aside, just because pretty much every time this game has got nerfed, it stems from the PvP community. The level of utilization of this mechanic is far greater in PvE than it is in PvP. So, harming the vast majority of the community just because it has a poor effect on one of the smaller portions of the community is generally a very poor way to go. I still know, I am as well, a lot of people that are really, really annoyed with the shield break causing disorient. I think it is literally the most stupid thing in the game so far, and considering how dumb this game can be, that is saying something. So a lot of the community is now suffering just because someone in the PvP community created a Reddit thread. So I am absolutely thrilled that the developers actually turned around for once and went, no, be quiet. Simply just because in order for them to do this, it would be a lot of resources, a lot of time. They'd have to recode the basic principle of the game and how the interactions and lighting and literally it would generally encompass everything, because the way in which hit scan weapons work, which is what we utilize as a mechanic in this game, it's hit scan, you pull the trigger, happens instantaneous, there's no projectile. There are some projectiles such as the grenade launchers, the crossbows, etc, the rocket we get from Technician, but generally speaking for most guns we utilize a hit scan system which utilizes ray tracing. So for them to change the origin point of where that bullet would come from would literally change everything. They would have to redo all of the lighting in the game, the 3D visualization of all, which all comes into effect. Essentially, asking them to fix this is asking them to destroy their own game. It's already destroyed, blah 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 blah. Doesn't matter how destroyed it is, it's still their game, they still have pride in it, it's still something that they clearly are enjoying doing because we are getting new content for it. Asking them to drag all of this up just to fix what is essentially a very, very minor issue that affects one of the smaller communities in the game is cutting your nose off to spite your face. There is in the description a link to another video, which is one of the main ones that I use to research this topic, essentially of how bullets work, and it will go into a lot more detail. It's not specifically for Division, but it explains how bullets work in shooter games like this, and it goes into a lot more detail, and if you watch it and you understand it, you'll realise why asking them to fix this is probably the most stupid thing going in the Division right now. Luckily, the devs put their foot down, so go Team Devs. I am on Team Dev. But yeah, that's basically it for this video. Just wanted to clear this up, really, because it's not going to happen, and it absolutely shouldn't happen. Have fun, good luck, don't die. It's bad for the health.